Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Kenny here, and today we're going to do some technical analysis. So, looking at S&P, S&P is channeling up, but the thing is, as you can see here, pretty obvious move to the downside here. I mean, in fact, if you look at it, these kind of fractals are exactly the same kind of length of time right now, and it's definitely dropping towards the 50-day moving average. So, if you are wondering if I think there's more downside, absolutely. I mean, there should be a touch here at the 50 and then go maybe. And if that happens, then that's true to the trend for what we've seen all year this year. But, you know, what would be healthy would probably be a touch of the 100 and go, and then kind of rally into year's end, and then look for another correction. But right now, as is, looking really strong. Obviously, the sell-off is kind of scary for most, but it's looking really strong still. And honestly, this trend line is still holding on really tight. And if you draw a regression channel from the latest kind of big dip, big correction, 10% or more, you can tell that it's still completely well within the channel. Getting down to the 80 percentile, obviously, or 95 percentile down here, but still have a way to go. Definitely should see a touch and go. I think that's what's likely going to happen. If it falls down below 442, then we're going into real correction territory. And then obviously if it spins down past 430, then we're going into crash territory. Don't expect that to happen. Expect a fight at 442 and then expect a hard bounce here at 431 or somewhere in between here. I think there'll be some slip and some undercut this time around. I don't think it's going to be a clean bounce like we've seen here. I mean, there's just so many. I think it'll slip like here where we slipped through a little bit. This has been a clean bounce. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clean bounces off the 50, which tells me that, I mean, especially with kind of the volatility going on, it just tells me that it's time for a kind of full, I don't want to say correction, but essentially correction. Looking at the VIX, because a little bit of a spike, 11.23%. We love playing the VIX. In fact, what we will do is we're going to wait, but if we get another sell-off tomorrow, the spike of the VIX should hit 24.25, which would signal risk on. So anytime VIX climbs above 25, definitely a good risk on signal. But more than that, not just buying, shorting the VIX from here, or using a proxy UVIXI to go ahead and take that short. But the way you play UVIXI, if you didn't know, like, you can play these kind of moves down here, but you got to remember this is like a depreciating asset, and so the thing you want to do is you want to actually play your setups a lot of times, or at least confirm your setups with the VIX and then play the UVIXI. Don't just use UVIXI as a technical analysis because it's kind of skewed downside. Workhorse, the workhorse trade, we have a put on, looking for it to go to like $3 or whatever. Watch the latest live stream if you want to know why. But yeah, I mean, it sold off today. Even if it makes a move up or whatever like that, we do have our stop in place. But from here, it does look like it's doing a channel down. It looks like it has a clear downtrend. We're looking for 734, but honestly, you know, depending on how fast it gets there, definitely can see it going to $3. It just depends how much data we have left, and kind of just making sure that we have enough to make it worthwhile to hold. But depending how fast we get there, it's more of a time thing than it is a movement thing on this trade. In terms of BABA, yeah, we knew it was going to be choppy all the way through here, and I'm still not convinced. Nothing in this price action shows me that we should be convinced one way or the other. So it could still definitely go down, could still definitely go up. Probably should be long volatility here, but the key is, you know, we're long-term investing in this now, and so we've kind of just loaded up a couple of tranches. Second tranche, I think we are have deployed, but still waiting because we can still see 150 and 129. I know for the folks who need to buy a yacht tomorrow or in the next couple months, that's problematic. But for us who are going to hold for another couple years here, probably 2-3 years, I think it's just fine. So still setting up that trade. JMIA is actually looking really weak, which is fine. It just gives us more time to consolidate and buy more. The next earnings and the next potential catalyst really is going to be November. So if it kind of fizzles out here and goes down to 16, that's going to be some definite buy signals. 18 has been a clear kind of point for you to buy. But obviously we have 1647 now exposed, so and some consolidation back here for 1647 as well. So got a lot of bag holders up here, so a lot of pressure trying to come back and up and over, especially the 100. So sitting underneath the 50 and the 100 and the 200 at this point. Actually, I'm sorry, the gray line is the 50. So all the SMAs putting pressure on it. Definitely can see 1647. In fact, because this channel up broke very clearly, gave it the benefit of the doubt, built the channel, and so now we're definitely looking for this. And if we regress the channel forward, it's probably breaking through. Let me just check right now. And so if you don't know what this regression channel is, yeah, it's getting really close to the bottom of the channel. It's mathematically significant channel. The regression line, or the middle line right here, is statistically significant. It's kind of the mathematical average, and these lower and upper bounds are what we would call 2 sigma, or second standard deviation. Anything outside of that is a signal. So AMD is actually breaking down really, really bigly. So there's 2 things that made me take the trade. So we actually are short AMD right now. Not in our no-look portfolio. We absolutely have no-look AMD, but we recommend, not financial advisors, but you can obviously sell some calls, some covered calls, or against your positions, or put some puts against it as well. It depends what you want to do. Anyways, the deal is AI called out 65-68% cup and handle, and that's why cup and handle is not that good. Cup and handle here should have took off, fails here, right? So since it failed, the second thing I was looking at here, visually, we saw a reverse head and shoulders. Oops. But yeah, with a reverse head and shoulders, we would have looked for it to go up as well. Both failed because of that, and because of kind of the semiconductor run and the kind of the Intel catalyst coming up right now. AMD looking to move down, and so we did take a short position on the risk on portfolio, and that's our YOLO trading portfolio essentially, but definitely still have very, very clear support at 100 as far as I'm concerned, and that is just fine. It just depends how much credit Intel can get, but can definitely see this, and honestly I expect this channel to kind of hold up here. Really thought that 120 would be our channel, but right now it's looking like a 100 to 113 consolidating channel, but definitely cooling off, no issues there. NIO in no man's land, just waiting, just taking it easy. The thing that I'd say though is if you count days here from this last move downwards, and we'll call this kind of capitulation move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Move should have happened here. It fails, so likely going to 25 here. So I'm more inclined to think it'll go to 25 than it will to the upside to 60 right now. I think we do, if we do move to 25, 68, expect to buy and then look for a violent move to the top side. You really want to, I think for a risky trade that has asymmetric risk to the upside, 25, if it hits anywhere in 25, 26 land, going to build the boat and do some real near-term options, put some leverage on for sure. Activision Blizzard, we're in this trade. It is kind of falling, but it's kind of fighting back today. Couldn't quite get over the 9 SMA, which is like our traders range. This is pretty close to a blue chip loop play here, so we're not too worried about it. A lot of institutional ownership here too as well, so just kind of buying the fear here, kind of sitting and waiting. A lot of great analysts have coverage against this, but the one thing I would say trend wise, we're definitely falling through here, which is another reason why we call this signal. We do have a stop down here on, I don't know exactly what it is right now, but we're well well above that for now, so we have plenty of time to work that trade off. Upwork doing the up thing, doing the channel up. I know we're on the lower bound of this and we sold off yesterday, but I mean, broader market sell-off shouldn't be too much of an issue, but I mean, regression wise, if we regress this actual channel up channel, you can see that we're pretty clearly bouncing over the 9 SMA, which is totally significant, totally fine, and also bouncing down up over the bottom range as well. If you go into the 15-minute on this one, though, you can probably see it probably bouncing around over VWAP as well, which obviously, where is it at? Obviously, I don't have it. That's classic. Anyways, if you're new to this channel, we do everything in one take and we do everything kind of live, so even our DD, and so based on that, we're not going back to do that. But anyways, we'll figure out that in a second. BBIG, just wanted to see if this thing can hold on the 15-minute chart. It's kind of interesting, a lot of noise here, but let's switch to the daily just to kind of show you what we're looking at. Definitely moonshotted over here. Hard to say, but the thing is, it has a consolidating range here, which is really interesting for that big of a move. I'm not going to go over any technicals or anything like that on BBIG, AMC, or GME, but the one thing that we can take a look at is the kind of DeMark indicator. And so if we're looking at the DeMark for BBIG, you can see that printed a 9 here as a sell setup, not quite perfection because it doesn't close. Sell setup perfection up here for the 9, and so it should deteriorate here. Looking for deterioration, but honestly, super strong. It should build a sideways channel here from 785 to 1144. So not buying unless it hits 785 or above 1144-ish. AMC, it's definitely doing the channel up, definitely very, very strong. So if you ever were interested in buying a momentum trade in AMC, this would be the time to do it. The thing that I will say is, though, you should leave on any kind of weakness, any kind of red candles like this. You shouldn't be buying these dips because if this channel breaks, it breaks, right? Second piece is, and this is not for the people who are holding or have some kind of ethical kind of mentality against the whatever funds or whatever narrative or story or disinformation narrative that you're making up for yourself. That's fine. Like, that's different. Do your thing. More power to you, but if you're trading this and you're looking for a trade, definitely looking interesting here because a couple things. There's this consolidating range up here which we're like pushing into, so a lot of bag holders up here. If we can clear, 64, that's the level. But here, if you don't reject, everything tells me you should reject here. So if you go through here strongly, and you can absorb all this supply, it should be a moonshot. There's definitely liquidity here though, so I don't see any kind of weird squeeze happening. But I'm not following it tight enough or hard enough to know any better. But the thing about AMC and GME is, like, you really should just watch the technicals on this, and the technicals are telling me that you could take a momentum trade here, but you have about 1 day. Looking for a sell setup here, so tomorrow should either sell off or just do one final move to the upside and then sell off. We'll see what happens. GME, it's actually consolidating, which is super interesting and super strong. And again, if you are thinking about getting in here, it's kind of tough because you're still in a kind of deteriorating pattern. And again, like, I want to just throw this regression channel on there but for no reason because it's not going to matter. So as you can see here, coming from this top and down, you would think that, if you just drew it yourself, somebody could come in here and say, oh, well, look at this, you have a triangle going down or whatever. But as you can see, even with all that noise, look at what happened here. So the way you read this is noise, so you would have shorted here. This is noise, you would have shorted here. This is noise outside this band, right, which is, again, second standard deviation. You would have got a full put here, a full put here, and a full put here, right? So these are good kind of signals. What is my point? My point is you could do the opposite. There's signal here, right? This is the mean reversion line and it's staying real strong. So now we've broken under it and then came up and broken under it again. This is essentially like VWAP. So it's probably more likely to deteriorate here. This is just technicals, and this is just kind of palm reading. But if you're looking for a technical trade on a GME, then I'm just kind of waiting here. We did take a put after earnings, got out on open, did really well, 45%, but didn't really put it in the chat or anything like that because it was a little bit risky. So only a few of us took that, but definitely made us 45%, got out. And if you would have got long here yesterday, 2 days ago, was very, very glorious. Mara selling off. We definitely took a put position all the way at the top, actually up here, 44. We're already got this move down. We closed here for almost 100% gain. Could have held, for sure, could have held, but didn't have enough theta left. Do I think it's going to go up? No, we definitely think Bitcoin is going to sell off. We think crypto assets are selling off here. That doesn't mean we're selling our Cardano or ADA, but just not so bullish on it right now. Cat, it didn't do what we thought it was going to do, but we're definitely rolling here. And the thing that I'll say is this is very clean consolidation. So looking for it to do kind of that. Definitely adding here. I'm going to add here. If it breaks 203.44, going to definitely reevaluate the trade. But going to have to hold this, going to have to try to stick this landing. It is falling through the 200, which is problematic. Definitely like to see it bounce quickly off of that. But even if it doesn't, we still are very bullish on this because, based on our back testing, as long as the market doesn't completely deteriorate, it should be just fine. Two kind of stocks that we're looking at. I don't want to go over them too much, but Snow is an AI play, and it is definitely going up. Here is a really good play because, as you can see, it's cleared almost all the noise. I know it sold off here, but again, broad market sell-off. If it gets above 325, you're going to want to think about getting long. You got nothing, man. You got no ceiling up until, I don't know. Gosh, there's no ceiling here. I mean, there's no consolidation here. You've gotten past the tippity top. Like, if there was ever a consolidating channel, right, or any supply that you needed to absorb, it was right here, right? And you've crushed through that. So now this can definitely gap up here. So, I mean, if it clears 325, get long probably. And yeah, look for a move all the way up to 400. Super interesting. Clean move here. In terms of AI is obviously another AI play, C3 AI, but consolidating down here really tightly. If you want to buy, this is what I call a dumpster dive play. If you want to get in, I don't see a better place. I mean, yeah, I mean, you have a tight floor here, so definitely could just kind of hang out and get a nice little trade. Floor here at 45, so that's your stop. If you want to put together a trade, this would be a nice trade. Only because it's such an obvious floor. There's no like kind of holding on or waiting or hoping past 45. Very clear floor here. You can obviously wait too. CCJ is a uranium play, and so we're going to do a video on it, but essentially there's this company called Sprott that's buying up all this uranium off the spot market. And so, actually, no, not off the spot market, physical uranium. And so, moving this up, and I don't know if they're planning on delivering on this uranium or just holding it or whatever like that, but we're going to do some more research on it. I did see the inflows and the option inflows come in last week, and so it's definitely a trend that's happening. We're holding URG, so we're doing well on that. Look at the volume, looking crazy. That said, do I think this will hold? I don't know. It's an artificial market right now. It's synthetic. It's based on a couple companies just buying it up. Sprott, for instance. So I don't know that this is going to hold. It's not like a natural kind of supply-demand dislocation type play. So what's my point? If you're holding URG or any kind of uranium, probably might be interesting. Sell here, and then probably look to get back in somewhere down here. Just a thought. Apple. My whole thought about Apple is you have signal, right? You are below the regression channel, and even if you pull it forward to add recency to it, you're still below it. So 2 sigma event happening here. What do you need to know? It's either 100% buy or it's either a sell because you think there's going to be a crash. So if no crash, if S&P recovers and rallies into September, into year's end, this is 100% buy here for Apple. So looking to buy some on open here. And looking for a move to the top. Depending on the market, we're going to check the futures, make sure the futures are running good. If the futures are green, you really want to buy on open. Tesla is really interesting because, we called Tesla rally down here. It did move up, and it did reject exactly where we thought it would or could reject, which is 765. So with this clean rejection here, I can definitely see it deteriorating and then trying to set up another kind of knock on this line. Needs to pass that. If it does pass that, though, definitely can get into the next kind of supply, which is around 860. So Palantir, channel up, boys. I mean, called channel up here, called the breakdown. Once it broke trend here, went short and got a big piece of this in July. Took that for a ride, took that for a tumble. Didn't take any of this trade, but it's running. What's my point? Maybe it can run, but the problem is you've run towards the top of where again, where all the supply is at. This here, it's all there, right? So I mean, if it crosses, sure. But here's the thing too, if you look at the natural kind of fractal, or if you look at the past, how long these things take or how many days these things take. So this channel here is 50 days, right? So 50-day channel up run, and this, if you take this from the bottom, you're approaching now 53 days. So what am I saying? It's sold off 50 days last time. You're at 53 days this time. If you're in a consolidating range, and 25 is kind of like the median here, would look for it to definitely sell off here. The other thing that you might want to do, though, is take this line, and if you take it from here, you're near the upper channel of that. If you're zooming out and taking the macro trade, you're getting close to the upper bound anyway. So anywhere in 28, more of an interesting short than anything, and for a couple of reasons. One, especially with ARK Invest kind of deploying a lot of their money into here, they don't have a lot of room in any of their other portfolios to kind of pump this up. And you remember this sell-off right here. Think about this, right? So how many other kind of bulls or kind of funds would do it? Not many. So I'm looking for a short here is what I would say. And so let's kind of look at the DeMark too. I'm going to guess that we're pretty close here on the DeMark. So if you're new to the DeMark indicator, it looks for trend exhaustion. Yeah, it's perfect sell setup. So it's on the third day, can definitely sell down here, down to the bottom of the range, 20. So definitely could take a put here if you wanted to. American Airlines. So I did, this printed on the 15-minute candle, printed what I call the London, what I've dubbed this year is the London Bridge. So here's the London Bridge. It made a big 6% move to the upside on bad news. So really interesting for me. I actually shorted this right here. Scary move to the upside post market, but I was pretty sure. I mean, there's just too much fear, and the airlines and just the way that things are kind of building out macro wise. Our macro story is still intact. Not intact. Our macro story has been kind of destroyed for the oil trade, and that should solve the airline trade as well. Kind of hold true for the airline trade, and because of that, I took this short. Didn't post it in the stock signals only because it was just super risky, but definitely took a big position. I thought it was super risky, but it turns out it wasn't super risky. I'm still holding here personally. Do I think there's more downside? I definitely see it hitting 1855. But as fast as it shot down here, boy, and with the Delta variant and kind of with all the macro conditions, like when you see a move like that and it cuts down like that hard, you can definitely see something like this happen or something like this happen. So this might be just the beginning of the move down to 1750. So definitely hanging out there. Anyways, thanks for watching. And if you like this kind of thing, you know what to do. Take it easy, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.